What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the Alto again, and this time we are here with Tyler of the Almighty Traitors. So great to be able to have you on. Thank you for coming on the show today. Another bucket list guest crossed off the list.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, it's an honor to have you here. I'm really stoked to hear this brand new album, Phobias. This album is absolutely kick-ass. Can't wait for the rest of the world to hear it. Was there sort of like a vision that you had going into the making of this album? Was there sort of like a preconceived idea or sort of like a goal that you had in mind, or was this like a very like throwing paint at the wall, sort of seeing what sticks in a very improvisational songwriting process?
So I kind of feel like I've gotten full control of my creativity lyrically and stuff like that again. And one thing I've really always wanted to revisit, excuse me, is in the Night Terrors realm. And I feel like people thought it was such a cult EP and they loved it so much that, I'm not sure why we never revisited it. We kind of kept on hopping around, and it's just definitely something that I wanted to revisit. I mean, for lack of a better term, and I feel like the album, the colors of the album, everything, the scheme, the lyrical content, all kind of ties into like not really a sequel, but more of a successor.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I've always thought that, like, what's great about Traitors is if you love Phobias, you're going to love, if people are just discovering you on Phobias, they're going to love Repent. They're going to love, anger issues and mental state. There is like a signature Traitor sound in a way. But for people who haven't heard Phobias yet, do you feel that, like, the release EP that you put out this year with the singles that we've heard so far, is that like a good sort of first taste or a good sort of preview of what to expect on Phobias?
Yeah. So the singles we've released from Break, it's been Break and Release and SBC. Those songs will appear on the album. So they're a pretty good representation. I mean, those were handpicked from my guys, and and we all really like them. But like the songs that we're not going to release are for really big Traitors fans who really can like dig deep into the weird genre that we brought forth a little bit, kind of like how Night Terrors has a lot of that twangy Traitors chord stuff, and just a little bit more picked up, a lot more intense for sure.
Yeah, you guys have invented a lot of different noises that I would say we've heard in like the modern day, like hardcore, slam, whatever genre on the periodic table you want to call it. It seems like there is a lot of different noises that you're able to like incorporate and stuff like that. Is it fair to say that there is a bit of an experimentation process with your songwriting?
Oh, 100%, dude. Like we just kind of try to have fun still, because I mean, I like to call it the field trip era, where everything kind of just felt like a delusion. You didn't even know, Traitors was in 2013. I mean, I woke up one day and I mean, we had like 20,000 new fans on Facebook, 20,000, and it just went all over the place. Within 3 months, I was touring, and we didn't even play local shows, and it was kind of just like I was just totally out of it. And yeah, I don't know. Can you? What was the question again? Just to make sure, because I get so fucking sidetracked.
It's all good. That's how you know it's a good interview. If there's a big experimental process that goes within the songwriting process.
Yeah. So we try to have a lot of fun, and I try to recaptivate that field trip era moment where we're just like, let's try this, let's try that. I mean, that's how Traitors was founded, is on experimentation. Steven came to me and he had some drum tracks that were like 120 BPM, and I said, cut them in half, slow them way down. And Steven played ball, and he was like, let's do it, let's give it a try. And he was all for it, and that's pretty much how this all came to fruition. So it was based off of just having fun. And I mean, obviously, when you're working with a producer who works from home, or someone who has a little bit more time to invest in your band, they'll go through a couple things and try to captivate the noise or the sound that you want. But when I look at Phobias, Luke and I wrote it, and obviously Alan with help from Alan as well. But Luke and I were up till the wee hours of the morning, just really trying to. It's almost like we wrote a horror movie, you know, and which I think is really fun and really cool because a lot of the stuff that I have written in the past was like it's just like different eras of my life. I mean, it really represents it. Like anger issues, obviously. You know, I wonder who he's talking about. You know, and just keeping it fun, keeping it lighthearted, but still putting in the work that needs to be done.
Do you find that maybe like a vocal concept or maybe lyrical concepts could help determine the outcome of the music? Have you always needed to hear the music before you could come up with a lyrical idea?
I think that hearing the music really helps me, but it's not for everybody. For Night Terrors, a lot of people are like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry that you're dealing with sleep problems and this and that." And actually, Night Terrors was I've always had. I've kind of overcome a lot of the traumas and anxieties that I've dealt with my whole life because I mean it was bad. But I mean I would go to super dark, deep places. But Night Terrors was a concept EP. I wrote with my experience from anxiety. I wrote about somebody who was dealing with night terrors and sleep disorders. But Phobias is kind of more of a personal one because now I've kind of grown into some sleep issues and there was a lot of things I was going through at the time of writing the album. I kind of locked myself away and didn't leave my room until it was done. So,
Wow.
but that was pedaling off of the music that was provided to me, which I love because then I can kind of mumble it out a few times, you know, sometimes I'll even put the mumble track down just for patterns and stuff like that and then go back over through it. Sometimes you kind of create words.
Does having that subject matter or having the anxiety or the sleep issues or the night terrors, if you will, to having all of these internal trials and tribulations as a source of inspiration, does that maybe make the songwriting just as it's obviously very cathartic when you can release this and you have an outlet in music to express this, but does that also maybe make it more deteriorating as well? I've always said that when like negative energy or darkness is like the fuel to the fire, we as artists could sometimes become victimized by our own product.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, so I have to go to a plate like now. I kind of have to like grab a shovel and go, go dig up the bodies more than like, oh, I'm gonna write about this guy. Like I definitely have always taken and projected my personal experiences onto Traitors music, and there's everything's at a price, but nowadays I can't. I don't like when I was younger, dude, I would have these absolute fucking meltdowns. And in the middle of my meltdowns, I would write. I don't really have meltdowns anymore. I've started to conquer a lot of my fear. So what I'll do is go back in time in my brain. And that can kind of not be too good either because those things kind of stick with me for a little bit, and then they eventually go back away because I'm like, don't be silly. It's over. You conquered that fear.
I'm so glad to hear you say that because it's a positive message, I think, to other artists where sometimes artists, especially in this genre, they think that they need to rely on like the pissed off energy that initially sparked it in a way. It almost seems like that if there's something that pissed you off, like let's say a relationship or somebody wronged you, and it made for a great subject matter for one album, it almost seems like that they're like hitting that same person up when they have to make the next album. Hey, can you piss me off in the same way that you did before? But
yeah, no, I've had that, and I've written stuff before, and there have been certain people who were like, I don't know, they were trying to like get a rise out of me, and I don't think that was the point or the objective. I think I think that my personal experiences, they will shine through in the lyrics no matter what. I still wish I had some access to some of the things that Traitors has scratched over time because, there have been various power struggles and, you guys haven't gotten a full length in almost 8 years. And, obviously as a musician, there's only so much you can say because I'm not a drama guy. I'm not a tea guy. I don't really air out my dirty laundry on Facebook or Instagram. You know, for lack of a better term, I'm a pretty chill dude. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like where where my lyrics come from are very personal, and that can be damaging in its own ways too, because you fall in love with your content so much because it means so much to you, and then people are just like they interpret it their way, and that's what music's for, is for the people to interpret it how they want. I wrote Dwell in 2017, and that was about my cousin who died, and it was like my best buddy in the whole world. And at the end of the song, I say, "I scream at the sky," and kids are just like, "Ice cream!"
Oh wow,
ice cream.
That pisses me off.
But this was a learning process for me. It was for me to realize in my mind, this is about my cousin. In their mind, they love ice cream. Fuck it.
Yeah. Well, so
I gotta get over it. It's not on me for the world to interpret how they want to enjoy the music. And I'm like, yeah, ice cream.
Yeah,
that's fine with me.
I'm so glad. Like, I almost am great. This is inspirational for me in a way too, because I've had this encounter too. You ever create something and it's very dark, and it comes from a personal spot. Maybe it is from a trauma you've experienced or a loss, as you mentioned, and whatnot. But then you show it to people and they just laugh at it. And not because they're trying to be malicious with it or they're trying to make fun of you by any means. That's just their knee-jerk reaction, to just laugh at certain things like that. I wonder why that is. I wonder if I just had my psychiatrist appointment. Maybe I should have asked him that. Why do humans sometimes
why are they laughing?
Yeah. Because I've seen it before. I'll wear a black metal shirt, a Behemoth or a Mayhem shirt, and they're like, "Ooh, so dark," and they just giggle at it. I just wonder what that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay, for music-wise, we used to laugh at the Traitor stuff because it was so over the top and so heavy, and we'd show other people and they would laugh too. But if someone's laughing at your shirt, I'd be like, "What's so funny?"
Yeah. But that's just an example that I was coming up with.
It is a good example though, because I've seen it all before. I feel like laughter is the best medicine, and if you're getting people to laugh at how over the top, it doesn't have to be heavy. If you're making people laugh at how over the top your music is, you're doing something right. That's why I also think people give shit to certain genres of music that are super popular, mumble rap, quote unquote. It was over the top. People loved it, and now it's evolved into something, and it's one of the most popular genres in the world. Rap and hip hop have always been, but just different branches of it. But yeah, I think laughter is a secret key, and a lot of people need to realize that if you got people laughing at your music, you might, unless they're laughing, if they're laughing with it, that's good. If they're laughing at it, it's okay. If it's bad, just tell me why it's bad.
Of course.
And I'll take it with a grain of salt and move on.
Yeah, as we all should. It's because, I'll give you an example. I'm a big death metal fan, but when I tell people, "Oh yeah, I was listening to the new Cattle Decapitation album or the new 200 Stab Wounds album," I tell them the name of that band and they just instantly giggle. But I know that they weren't creating those names with the intention of making people laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel like it's because, once again, it's over the top, and it's who do you listen to? Well, I like, the Beatles, and I like some rock, like Avenged Sevenfold, and then you're like, I like 200 Stab Wounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just okay, bud.
Yeah. Well, when you say it in that context, that just sounds like something out of a Seinfeld skit. So
yeah. I feel like people think that metalheads are so amped up, but when I listen to metal, I'm usually chilling.
The more aggressive,
I'm not
The more aggressive the music is, the more chill they are. Look up every death metal band I've interviewed, and I'm talking Cannibal Corpse, Immolation, Suffocation, Incantation,
Yeah.
Obituary, every.
Every Asian possible.
Yep.
Incantation.
Yep.
Suffocation.
Exactly. All of that. But
Traitors Nation.
there you go. But like they're all like the most chill guys, and including a lot of the bands like I've interviewed you guys and Body Snatcher and everybody else, and like everybody's just so laid back and chill. And I think it's because any negative energy that needed to be expressed, they don't need to express it in an interview. It's already said in the music.
Yeah. Honestly, man, I feel like it's real life experience with a lot of these musicians too, because these guys, like, our job is to touch grass. Our job is to go outside and go get it. It's like, here, go a couple thousand miles from home. You deal with real pain. You deal with, a lot of people deal with toxic relationships, whether it's their fault or not, being gone for months. And I feel like that just makes you a real person. Like you have like, there's like, everybody's problems can be real, but I feel like you have very authentic issues rather than something small and tedious, because you don't have time for that. I mean, when you're on the road, it's go, 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 go. And you get into that synergy. And I feel like that's what makes people so chill, is their life experience. You're going to ask any musician that's toured at least 5 times, hey, where have you been in the US? And he's going to say, well, I've toured everywhere except for Maine, Alaska, and Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And that's typically the 3 that you never, Maine doesn't have. Does Maine have a scene? That'd be sick.
I mean,
but I've never even heard a person say, come to Maine.
Well,
so
I mean, I would go to Maine for the seafood, but I mean, I don't know who would attend the shows there other than a bunch of moose. But
yeah,
like
that might work for me.
Yeah, we're gonna get a lot of hate mail from people from Maine now. Just watch, but
no, big up to Maine, man.
You got the best lobster rolls. Won't argue with that. But
why? But they serve them cold. And that confuses me, but
hey, you know what? To each their own. I ain't gonna, as a New Yorker, I'm not even gonna I'm not even gonna discuss Chicago pizza. But I got a few more questions left for you, and that is kind of what you were mentioning. We talked a little bit about it just now, but when you're going on stage, I mean, I've seen Traitors play numerous times. First time I saw you guys was Gramercy Theater with Fit for an Autopsy back in it was like July of something. I think it was like a benefit show. Or something.
Gramercy with Fit should probably be around 2017, 2018. Yeah,
I remember Heavy New York was just starting at that time, so it was probably 2017. Yeah. But great time. Your persona on stage, the energy that you capture, your stage presence, your crowd interaction, it's incredible. And I could tell that by your lyrics and by your music, you are very, very much portraying you. But let's be real, you're not the same person on stage as you are now. You're way more chill now than when I see you on stage, for example.
Yeah.
Is there an essence of, I don't want to say imposter syndrome because I know it is very much you, but do you almost feel that there is an alter ego of who you are on stage, or there is like a side of you on stage, or maybe you are impersonating something that Tyler off stage isn't normally?
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what I was raised around, the type of entertainment I was raised around, which was mainly like wrestling entertainment, WWF, I'm 32, so I saw the Brothers of Destruction debut in '97, and Kane and Undertaker, and I feel like from there I just started falling in love with just wanted to entertain, wanted to get a rise out of people. I noticed it when I was on the bus too. I was kind of like a pick me kid. I loved to be the center of attention. I also learned about why, because you're always like, oh, he was the funny kid in school. But then you look up like what it really means to be the class clown. It's like, you weren't getting enough attention.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, I feel like I've taken and captivated like the ego that I've let go of. I've kind of bottled him up, and I've created a character, and I've put him on the shelf. And whenever I get on stage, I kind of become, what if Tyler was a wrestler? What if Tyler took his old self, and, I like to look at myself in the mirror before I go on stage and say something funny, or just make eye contact with myself for a second, because I don't like to look at myself in the mirror for very long. It starts to get a little weird looking, starts to get warpy. But I'm just like, you're the champ. Get up there and be the champ, and just go out there and crush it. I mean, I'm trying to put myself over in an entertainment setting. And I feel like that's what a lot of vocalists forget. They have mic control. The only thing that is different every single night is what you do and say on that microphone. And, other than that, the instrumentals will always stay the same. Back in the day, we used to be so complimented on, man, you guys sound just like the album. I love it. You sound just like the EP. I'm like, I don't care for that. I want you to come out to a live show, and I want it to be different.
Yeah.
I don't want you can go home and listen to me. Why would you come here and listen to me if it's just louder?
Fair enough.
Like, that's it. So when I go on stage, sometimes I might change up the vocals a little bit. I mean, obviously at big parts, we don't have a lot of mic grab moments, I've realized over the years. I say a lot of lyrics. And we're in the generation now of, look at the wrestlers. Here's some of the biggest. LA Knight, he has the yeah. The Usos have yeet. I mean, it's one word stuff. Daniel Bryan had yes. And then look at Kublai Khan, 2. It's one word mic grab moments. And I don't have a lot of those, but those are what's cooking, because it's easy to get people to jump at you and say one word rather than, menace to society. My big mic grab moment is, I am a menace to society.
Yeah.
Not everybody in the world can do that perfectly on point with the song. So
I could see some people getting off rhythm. They like to grab the mic and they're like, that happens. I mean, hey, that's your goal for this album cycle, to get a mic grab moment.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, a lot of this music, it's very busy. I really do enjoy it, but I'm almost speculating an EP somewhere after this where it's more of a live setting release. This new stuff, it's just so fucking crazy and so like theatrical and so well produced and busy. I still do like it in the live setting, but I think Traitors needs to come out with a few ass beaters to complement the Night Terrors vibe. It's almost like I'm I don't want to say recycling, because a lot of these feel like their successors. They're more like adult, I guess, from me.
Well, I also want to mention too. This is kind of like my second to last question. There was 2 more I had for you, but
no sweat.
This was kind of like what I wanted to mention, because it seems like when I think of Traitors, I am thinking of a lot of other bands too. Not to say like you guys sound like this or whatever, because I do.
Yeah, but it's for fans of other bands.
I do associate Traitors with a movement to a degree. Like, take a look at other bands right now that have been killing it. Body Snatcher, Spite. A lot of these really aggressive, like sort of like slam bands. Angel Maker. With the deathcore thing as well. Mm-hmm. Like, I seen you guys play with like a lot of like slam bands. Like I'm going to get a lot of shit for this, but I don't care. I could picture what a Traitors fan looks like. And I'm not saying that in a negative way. Just like I could picture what a Korn fan would look like, a diehard Korn fan would look like, or what like a diehard Emperor or Mayhem fan would look like. There's fashion or looks associated with it. And I feel like the era of people wearing the string backpacks with nothing inside of them and the cap and like almost like the Jonathan Davis style as they crowd kill in the pit. I mean, I see a movement that's about to explode out of the underground. If it's slam, some people call it a new iteration of new metal, whatever you call it. It seems like that there is a movement, and Traitors is definitely a face of it. I guess the best way to sum it up is 20 years when We Were Young festival is going to happen. It's going to be Fit for an Autopsy, Traitors, Spite, Body Snatcher, Kublai Khan, Knocked Loose, you name it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I feel like if you can associate somebody with my music in any way, that means I'm doing something right. So that's really, at the end of the day, I'm on year 11 going on 12 of being in Traitors. It's been a hard grind, dude. Like, there have been some times where I'm like, dude, what the fuck am I doing? I'm 32 years old. Like, is this all really worth it? at this point I could be a fucking brain surgeon, but I'm still, there's still some times where I'm struggling and I'm like, something's got to give in this gamble, but I gave up security for freedom, rather than the other, because if you give up freedom for security, you deserve neither. And I think that's old Ben Franklin right there talking. That's
Yeah.
old Benjamin Franklin.
Yeah, but sometimes security can buy freedom too, as well.
It can. But if I think about if I would have gone to school for the past 12 years and hunkered down, I would have missed my 20s. And guess what? In my 20s, I was traveling the world. I didn't have much money to my name, but I didn't care. I got opportunities. I did some of the coolest things. I went to like private parties and events, like that were hosted by really big name companies, and I've just done so many cool little things, and I manifested this cool life.
Yeah.
And there are times where it's like, you know what? This is why I gave up my security, is so I could have these cool, amazing things. Even going to I frequent a butcher shop when I visit my parents, and this beautiful old lady, maybe in her 60s, maybe 70s, she's like, I just want to visit France one more time. She's like, I was able to take off work about 20 years ago, and I'm just like, holy fuck, dude. Like, I have seen so much of the world. I may not have the value in green or right now, but I had life experience, and I visited places that, like, hundreds times over than some people don't even leave, let alone their state. They don't even go 100 miles away from home. And this just, there's so much, it's so priceless what I gave myself in my 20s. I mean, it was unique.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like 20s are for fucking up, but let's be real. We're all crazy in our 20s. We're all, it's like the bridge between childhood, teenager, and being like an adult in a way. And like, so there's a lot of questioning. Like I wouldn't change. I could look back at my 20s and said I was going all over the fucking city interviewing my heroes and discovering new bands that have been taken off. Like, I could say I interviewed Bad Omens before anybody knew who they were, or Spirit Box before anybody knew who they were. Like, there's a lot of things like you wouldn't change your 20s for. So like, sure, there is part of me saying, man, I'm 31 right now, and I still do this on the side while working other endeavors. But like, still though, how many people could say that they've done what they've done? There are plenty of people who could say that I went to college, went to work right afterwards, did this, and there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody's their own person. But at the same time, people have their own individual experiences, and these experiences that you mentioned, you can't beat that if you like.
Yeah, for sure. Honestly, like my younger brother, he's 19, and he went straight from high school right into college within like 4 months. College, job, already had me beat. I never went to college. He's worked the same job for like 2 or 3 years now. Already has me beat. Dude, when I was working a 9 to 5, the longest I ever was employed in my entire life was 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And I would job juggle all over the United States. Well, not all over the United States, all over Florida. I would never enjoy anything, and it's because my brain was just like, come on, dude. Like, you're an entertainer. You're not a wire puller. You don't do low voltage construction. And that's what I was doing. That was my last job, which I did enjoy it. You wake up at 5 a.m. and you get home at 7:30 p.m. and I'd be like, I liked the job. You get it, but it's like my little brother's scenario. He's like, kind of like this right now. And I'm like, dude, he's like, I'm going to be 20 next year. I'm like, oh my God. Oh no, not the best years of your fucking life coming up. Like, I'm like, don't be afraid to slow down if you need to. And I'm not putting anything in his head, but he's already realizing, wow, I have my whole life ahead of me. Do I really want to keep going to college to do this and that? My family does not judge for the decisions a single person makes. So when it comes to jobs or your dreams, Nobody pushed him to go. He did it himself. No, he was in all the gifted classes, all the ACE. He got his diploma. He's getting free grants from the government. He did a fantastic job. But I said, now that you did all that, you're in control of your life. If you decided to not go to college anymore, nobody here is fucking judging you.
Yeah.
I just want you to chase it. I want you to chase that dream and be persistent with it.
Yeah. And you know what? Who gives a fuck if people are judging or not in the end, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So the best way to be a rebel is not caring about what people think. Even if like for instance, there's one guy I noticed I know plenty of people who did what your brother did. Went to college, got a job, they're living the all American dream lifestyle. They don't give a flying fuck about what anybody thinks. They
100%.
They say, I'm happy with this. I love going to work, coming home from work, my kids are there, laying next to my wife and doing it all again. That to me is more of a rebel than somebody, I don't know, being as slam and punk and as metal as could be, and they're like trying so hard to conform. Like, to me, if you want to be a rebel, stop trying to be cool. And if you want to be a rebel, stop worrying about what people think. That's the moral. Yeah. That's the moral of this interview. And we went way deep. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your music as well for all these years. I can't believe the
absolutely, dude.
I can't believe the hate campaign is going to be fucking 10 years. This coming year, it's insane. Is there just anything else with Traitors you'd like to promote with the release of Phobias? What could we be expecting in the near future, if you're allowed to say at this moment, of course?
Yeah, honestly, people are like, well, what do you want to plug? At the end of the day, I mean, y'all know that there's an album coming. If you've listened to this interview for this long, I'm pretty sure you're already up to date with what Traitors is doing. New album's coming out in February. We just announced a headliner with Yosemite in Black and Crown Magnetar. We've handpicked some locals for certain dates as well. I mean, there's more music coming more often than the rate that Traitors was coming out with music. The power struggles have ended. My creativity is back. I am 100% authentic myself again. Every lyric that was written for Phobias is from me and me only, and I showed it to my guys, and they gave me the thumbs up, and they loved every second of it, because that's the way that it should be, and that's the way it should have been. And so here we are. I honestly feel like our last big breakout was Anger Issues, and I feel like we're right there. We're right on the third wave of, hey, these guys are still here, they're still doing it, and they're crushing it. So this is my real big shot in the dark. I got a whole team together, and we're shooting for the stars with this one.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, everybody. We are here with Traitors. Phobias out this February. Be sure to check that out in 2025. We'll see you next time on Heavy New York.